Belly face down on the mattress. I want something else to get me through this life, baby. I want something else. Not listening when you say
morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. Alright. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning in that. Yeah, it's Uncle Lou here. That's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. Let me get a good morning in the chat. If you have clinched your division. Yeah. Man, feels good. Feels good. Still celebrating. A little sore from all the dancing yesterday, but it feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Man, the corn dogs are loud. I don't understand. Not even sure if we're playing them yet. I don't know. Don't know who we're playing from the SEC West. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, corn dogs are loud. Not for long though. We'll see how this stream goes. Is it coming through okay on y'all's end? Let me know, because I'm exporting a 4K video, and I can just about see smoke coming out of my PC. So I don't know if it's probably not a good idea to be trying to live stream in 1080 while I'm exporting a 4K video, but I hoped it would be done exporting by now, but it's not. So I don't know. Let me know that it's okay on y'all's end. But anyway, big weekend of college football per usual. We'll run through some of the top 25 games. I touched on a lot of the big ones yesterday in the Your Season is Over video. We'll run through the top 25, see who won, who lost, maybe try to figure out what changes are coming in the playoff poll. The AP and the coaches poll, of course, are already out. Not that they necessarily matter, or they don't matter at all, but sometimes they can be an indication of what you can expect, maybe, in the playoff poll. We'll see. And I try real hard not to complain about the polls, especially the AP and the coaches poll, since they literally don't mean anything anymore. With the playoff poll being out now. But I have a real problem with something in both the AP and the coaches poll. The same thing in both polls. And I don't know. I'll pull the polls up in a minute and tell you what it is, but and see if y'all agree with me or not. But anyway, shout out to the good people over at the Color Rush podcast. They've been good enough to sponsor this new morning show that we started for the month of November. So you guys help them out. They're helping me out. So let's help them out. There's links in the description of this video for wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, whatever the case may be. Click one of those links sometime today when you get a free 30 minutes or something. Maybe it's on your lunch break or after school or work or while you're working out or sometime this evening, whatever. When you get a few minutes, click one of those links. Give it a listen. I think you'll like it. It's a college football podcast, but they do it in a different way. They sort of take a different approach to it. I think you guys will enjoy it. And like I said, they've been good enough to sponsor this morning show here. We just started this thing, so to get a sponsor right off the bat like that was a big help to me. So let's try to return the favor and help them out. Give them a listen. The Color Rush podcast. All the links are in the description of this video. The live schedule for this week is going to be a little bit different. The morning shows will be the same, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. The nighttime shows will be the same, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 p.m., but there will not be a Saturday morning live show this week, as I am headed to the Georgia-Texas A&M game on Saturday with Lou Jr. So it's a 3:30 game, but we'll leave here at 7 or 8 in the morning probably. It's an hour and a half or so drive. Well, usually about 2 hours on a game day because of traffic, but it's about a 2-hour drive. Anyway, so I won't be doing the live show at 9 a.m., and I probably won't go live at all on Saturday. I will record some video for you guys at the tailgate and the game. I will do a halftime and post-game video. If you guys remember last year, I went to the Auburn game. I still did the halftime and post-game video. I did it right there from the in the stadium, from the where I was sitting. I'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably do the same thing for the Texas A&M game, but there won't be a 9 a.m. live show this Saturday morning because I will be either just getting to Athens or on the way to Athens Saturday morning. So other than that, the live shows will be the same, but just no live show Saturday morning. So I know that sucks, but it is what it is. I'll try to go to one game a year, and so this year, Texas A&M game. It's our first time playing Texas A&M since they joined the SEC back during conference expansion in, what was that, 2011 or 2012, I guess. It's been 8 or 9 years now. So I kind of circled this game as one I wanted to go to a couple of years ago, our first time playing them, and it just kind of worked out where I was able to go. So that's what I'll be doing. That's what I'll be doing this Saturday. So no Saturday morning show for you. Sorry about that. I think you'll survive, though. Honestly, I really do. But should we run through the scores first, or talk about? Well, let's run through we'll run through the scores first, real quick, and then I have some things I want to say about the AP and the coaches poll. And again, I hate complaining about the polls, especially the AP and the coaches poll, because you're talking about you're complaining about some people's opinions here, and I hate doing that. But to me, there's just an egregious error in both the AP and the coaches poll. The same mistake in both polls, and so talk about that in a minute. But let's run through some of these top 25 scores. Maybe. Hopefully. Okay, here we go. Man, I can't believe this stream is actually going through because my computer is just so bogged down. If you guys have ever done any video editing or anything like that, you know how taxing that is on your computer. And I'm exporting a 4K video in Adobe Premiere Pro right now, and it's grinding my PC to a halt. I'm surprised this live stream is even going through, but I guess it is. All right. But we're going to try to keep it going. If it crashes, it crashes. We'll see. Of course, LSU won, but, man, we need to talk about this LSU defense. And by talk about it, I mean the fact that they don't have one. LSU's defense is really, really bad. It's no sugarcoating it anymore at this point. I mean, you give up 400 yards rushing to anybody, that's embarrassing. You give up 400 yards rushing to a triple option team, that's embarrassing. But to do it to Ole Miss is just inexcusable. A 4-win team, 400 yards rushing. They gave up 37 points scored. I know a lot of those rushing yards were to John Rice Plumlee, their quarterback, who's a running quarterback. And that's not something that you could project forward to say the Georgia game or anything, because we don't have a running quarterback. But, I mean, this isn't a one-time thing for LSU. LSU gave up, 37 yesterday or Saturday. They gave up 38 to Vandy. What did they give up to Alabama? What did they give up to Texas? In fact, you can take the Vandy game. If you LSU gave up more points to Vandy, Ole Miss, and Alabama. 3 games. LSU gave up more points in those 3 games than Georgia has given up all season long. What I don't understand is LSU fans who are pretending there's nothing wrong with their defense. That's what I don't understand. Now, I'm not saying that because LSU has a bad defense, that means they're automatically going to lose to Georgia or some team they might play in the playoffs. I'm not saying that. But to not understand that you have a terrible defense at this point in the season, that would be like me coming on here and trying to convince you that Georgia has an Ohio State offense or an LSU offense. It would be ridiculous. It's potato on its face. LSU's defense is terrible. Terrible. Now, there's a million cliches and things when it comes to football and sports in general. One of the longest running cliches of all time is that defense wins championships. Well, we'll find that out if LSU and Georgia play in the SEC championship game. We'll find that out. Because if that's true, Georgia will win that game. Because Georgia has one of the best 2 or 3 defenses in America. LSU has one of the best 2 or 3 offenses in America. Georgia's offense is pretty average. LSU's defense is pretty bad. So we'll find out if that's true or not. Does that still hold true in modern-day college football in sort of this age of airing it out and spread offenses and RPOs and teams scoring 40 and 50 points? Is that still true? I'll tell you this, and again, this isn't totally relatable, and I think I've said this before. Clemson won the national title last year. They had the number 1 defense in America. Now, they also had a great offense. Alabama won the title in 2017. They had the number 1 defense in America. Now, they also had a great offense. So they had both. LSU doesn't have both. Georgia doesn't have both. LSU's got the great offense and their defense sucks. Georgia's got the great defense and their offense underperforms. The 2 teams that have both great offenses and great defenses right now of the playoff teams are Ohio State and Clemson. So we'll see if that trend holds true this year. But I do think it'll be an interesting matchup if LSU can somehow figure out a way to clinch the West, running out of time here, and can meet Georgia in the SEC championship game. I think it'll be an interesting matchup. LSU's new high-flying offense with Joe Burrow putting up Heisman numbers versus one of the best defenses in America, UGA. It'll be an interesting game. And the only people that I think are idiots are the ones that think that LSU is just going to show up in Atlanta and run over Georgia by 30 or 40 points. Those are the people I think are they either hate Georgia or they're football ignorant. There's no other explanation. Or they're blind LSU fans. That's it. No other explanation. So we'll see. It'll be a good one. Ohio State rolled again, 56-21. Justin Fields has 41 touchdowns now. It's just insane. Him and Burrow have the same number of touchdowns, 41. Burrow has a lot more yards, though, than Justin Fields. Right now, the Heisman Trophy belongs to Joe Burrow. I don't think there's anybody in America who can catch him except Justin Fields, and I think even that's a long shot at this point. He would have to put up. Now, if Justin Fields goes out and scores 4 or 5 touchdowns in each game against both Penn State this coming week and Michigan next week, and has close to 300 yards or something in both those games, maybe he pushes Joe Burrow for that Heisman Trophy. But even then, it's pretty close to a lock, I think, for Joe Burrow at this point. But I don't think anyone else should even be considered, really, other than Justin Fields. I like Chase Young, best player in America, and I was riding him hard for the Heisman a few weeks ago. But you can't break the rules and get suspended for 2 games and expect to win the Heisman. So he's out. Tua obviously is out. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he can overcome what happened the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So I don't think he has a chance. He just had too many turnovers and too many poor performances the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Now, he's playing lights out now, so that doesn't have anything to do with how Clemson might fare in the playoffs or anything. But in terms of Heisman Trophy, I think he played himself out of the discussion in the first 4 or 5 weeks. Jalen Hurts is nowhere near the quarterback that Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray was. He's out of the discussion. I don't know who else you would even consider. Jonathan Taylor, maybe. That's who I would invite. Just because the guy has just broke so many records. It's just ridiculous the yards he's put up over a 3-year period. I know he's not going to win it. He's a running back, and this is a quarterback award. But those are the 3 people they should invite to New York. If it was me, if it was up to me, that's who I would invite. Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, and Jonathan Taylor. And if the award were given away tomorrow, I'd give it to Joe Burrow. So that's that. Clemson rolled again over Wake Forest, which is terrible, but probably their toughest competition in the ACC, which is sad. Georgia, the big win over Auburn on the road, 21-14. Alabama, 38-7 over Mississippi State. Somehow scored 3 points in the second half, but please keep telling me that Mac Jones would start at any school in America. Please keep telling me that. Scored 3 points in the second half against a 4-win Mississippi State team. Mississippi State outrushed you in this game. Again, and don't tell me, well, it was the second half, it was a blowout, we were taking it easy. The second halves of almost every one of your games are blowouts, Alabama fan. Show me another game where you scored 3 points in the second half. I'll wait. Oregon rolled. Oregon looks like a team that is getting better at the right time to me. I don't know if they're going to get into the playoffs or not. I have my top 10 video. That's the video that's exporting right now is today's top 10 video that comes out later. So it'll be up a couple hours after the live show ends. And I talk a lot about Oregon in that video. I'm not sure they can get into the playoffs even if they win out, but it's going to be close. A lot depends on the LSU-Georgia SEC championship game, but we'll see. But Oregon is playing good football right now. They rolled again. Same with Utah. UCLA, they're not a good team overall, but they've been hot lately. They've won like 3 games in a row, and Utah just absolutely destroyed them, 49-3. We know about the Minnesota-Iowa game. Minnesota came back to earth, lost on the road to Iowa. That was a tough spot for Minnesota. Biggest win they've had in 40 years last week at home against Penn State. Then you got to turn around, go on the road to a really good Iowa team, and not enough offense there for Minnesota. They fall 23-19. Penn State, Indiana, another one of those Big Ten teams that people tend to forget about. They're in that second tier of the Big Ten, but you got to remember the Big Ten is a really good conference this year. So to be a second-tier Big Ten team is not that bad. It's like being a second-tier SEC team. So it's not the worst thing in the world. They're a okay team. Penn State gets the win, so they rebound and win 34-27. Big matchup this coming week: Penn State, Ohio State. Oklahoma miracle comeback over Baylor. Just a crazy. I mean, they were down 31-10 at halftime. They were down 28-3 at one point in the second quarter. They shut Baylor out in the second half and win 34-31. Just a crazy game. Florida 23-6 over Mizzou. Dan Mullen, what an embarrassment Dan Mullen is. I would be so embarrassed if my coach, after a win, runs up to the first camera and microphone he can find and starts screaming War Eagle and begging another team to do something that his team couldn't do. Just a disgrace, just a disgraceful display, honestly, by Dan Mullen with the whole War Eagle and, oh man, I hope the West can do something for us today. Well, you hoped wrong, buddy. 10 years, no nuts. Sorry, Dan Mullen. The streak continues for you. Wisconsin 37-21 over Nebraska. Jonathan Taylor goes for 200 yards again. Sun rises in the east. I think D'Antonio's going to get fired. This offense is unacceptable. This is bad. 44-10 to in-state rival Michigan. Harbaugh's first couple of years at Michigan State was competing with Michigan. That's not the case now. This is just absolutely embarrassing. And Michigan State's got a good enough defense to compete for a Big Ten title. I'm dead serious. But their offense is horrible. Michigan State's offense makes Georgia look like LSU. I mean, that's how bad Michigan State's offense has been the last 2 years. Inexcusable. I know they made a playoff 4 or 5 years ago or whatever it was, but that might as well have been 100 years ago. D'Antonio probably needs to go. Notre Dame crushed Navy 52-20. Cincinnati keeps it going. Still just one loss for Cincinnati, and that one loss was to Ohio State. So of all the group of 5 teams, Cincinnati has the best loss. We'll see if they can win the conference. I think if they win their conference championship game, they will end up being the highest-ranked group of 5 team and will find themselves in a New Year's Six bowl. That's my prediction for that. Memphis, same thing, the same conference, same record. So we'll see between those two. Texas is back to losing 4 games after falling on the road to Iowa State 23-21. I mean, not even worth talking about. Even their fans have disappeared. Deep Brat's hiding, and he doesn't even try to hide the fact that he's hiding. I tracked him down on Twitter, tweeted him fully expecting him to just ignore me. He actually tweeted me back and basically said, yeah, I'm hiding. Well, we lost to Oklahoma. There's no point in, whatever, but which is embarrassing and sad. So for those of you that don't know, and I went ahead and told Deep Brat this too, he's banned from YouTube until the season starts next year. I'm not going to have these people show up on here and run their mouth for 8-9 months straight from January to August, and as soon as their team loses a game, they disappear. Not going to have that. If you run your mouth for 8 or 9 months, take your medicine when you lose here. That's just the rules of the game here. So I went ahead and told him don't bother commenting or anything until the games start next season. If I see him commenting during the off season, I'm just going to delete every one of his comments that he leaves. He has to earn his way back into off-season trash talk on this channel. He was the loudest person on YouTube this off-season, period, besides me. He was the loudest, and the dude disappeared. He stuck around after the LSU loss in week 2, but as soon as they lost to Oklahoma, he was gone, done, nowhere to be found, and that's just embarrassing and sad. Boise State 42-9, another one of those one-loss Group of 5 teams. Oklahoma State 31-13 over Kansas, big win. Next week they'll turn around and lose to some 500 team. That's just what Oklahoma State does. West Virginia 24-20 over Kansas State. That one was kind of surprising to me anyway. App State keeps it going, rolling over Georgia State. So again, another one of these one-loss Group of 5 teams. So that's it for the top 25. No major upsets, I guess. I mean, Minnesota losing, like I said, that wasn't really an upset because if you paid attention, Iowa was actually favored in that game. So a lot of people expected Minnesota to have a tough time Saturday. So that wasn't really an upset. Rob W., thank you for the super chat, sir. He says you're taking calls. No, we don't take calls during the morning show. No calls during the morning show. We do the calls at night and on Saturday mornings. But again, if you just joined, there is no Saturday morning live show this week. The rest of the live schedule this week is the same as always. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. That's this show. And then Tuesday, Thursday night at 10 p.m. That's the call-in show. There will be no Saturday morning show this coming week as I'll be going to the game this weekend. So that's just what that is. Other than that, the live shows will be the same. The videos will be the same. Top 10 video will be coming up. Today. I've already filmed it. Man, I wore myself out this weekend. I'm not going to lie. And I ended up falling asleep last night at about 9:30 at night, which is real early for me. I'm usually up till about midnight. But I fell asleep at 9:30 last night. And because of that, I woke up at 3 a.m. today. So I was out here by about 3:30 this morning, and I said, well, I might as well go ahead and do this top 10 video. So that's what I did. I haven't uploaded it yet. It's exporting now, which is why I'm worried about this computer lagging on y'all or whatever. But I guess it's still coming through okay. But I'm exporting a 4K video in Premiere Pro, and that burns your computer up. I can almost see smoke coming out of it, but I'm surprised I'm able to stream at the same time without it being potato quality. So hopefully it looks okay. To you guys, I don't know. We'll see, but I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, somebody says the camera's glitching. I'm frozen. I'm not surprised at all. I thought the video would have been done exporting by the time I stopped the live show, but it wasn't. And even now, it's only on about 80%. So it's probably gonna be exporting the rest of the time I'm doing the live show. Unfortunately, it was just unforeseen error. On my part, so sorry for the bad quality this morning. Do live show from Athens. It's hard to go live from up there because of cell signal. There's so many people up there. It's hard to get enough cell signal to go live without it looking like complete crap. So I'll try to go live maybe a little bit if I can, maybe from tailgate or something. But if it's just not enough signal, I'll just record some video to post for you guys the following day. We'll see. All right, we'll do LouTube history, and then when we come back from that, I'm going to pull up these AP poll and the coaches poll that came out yesterday. I hate complaining about polls, especially the AP and the coaches poll, because they're mostly meaningless, especially with the playoff poll, being out now. But there's something in the AP and the coaches poll that is just completely ridiculous to me, and so I want to point it out and talk about it and see if you guys agree with me, and we'll do that just as soon as we do the moment in LouTube history, which today is from November of 2017. This was a video I made during Georgia Tech week in 2017, and I think this has the Georgia Tech superfan in it, Philip Huang Tektard III. And he's not in a whole lot of videos. He's probably the super fan I do the least amount of time. So some of you may never have seen him before. I don't know. And he may join us next week, leading up to the Georgia Tech game. We'll see. But I always meet up with a bunch of people when I go to the games. So I'll be I tailgate outside the psychology building. So best thing to do is follow me on Twitter. at Crazy Uncle Lou on Twitter, and any updates or whatever I'll put on there. But I always tailgate at the same place, which is right outside the psychology building, which is half a block from the. I mean, you can see the stadium from there. So anyway, moment in LouTube history. Let's see what we have today.
Yes, hi. Hi. Yes, hi. Hi. Yes, I'm calling to reserve a room at your establishment there. Yes, I'll be in town for 2 nights for the Star Trek convention. So I'm calling about the discounted rate for the costumed actors for the Star Trek convention there. Yes. My name is Philip. Yeah, with 2 L's. Philip Hoang Techtard the third. Yes. Yes. 2 nights, yes. 2 nights. Yes. 2 nights. Yes. 2. A single bed. A single bed will be fine. Yes. A single bed will be fine. I'm obviously traveling alone, so. Yeah. So. Okay, and does that breakfast include organic juice? Well, thank you for your... Yes. Yes. Okay, yes, thank you. Yeah, nanu, and thank you too, yeah. That's fine, Lou.
Just
but
5 minutes, man. Go, please.
11. Open up the shop.
They've been
40
asking
guys to come in.
for you
I'm a key holder.
all
It's
week.
a very important title. Pep Boys have a key.
We know.
Front door.
Pep Boys, yes.
Key to the service garage.
You're a very important person at Pep Boys, Wayne. We know.
Pep Boys.
Just please, 5 minutes.
Okay,
Go,
5
please.
minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Just for you.
Behind you, man.
Where is it, Lou?
On the shelf, man. Turn around. Yes,
Oh,
right
hi.
there. Yeah,
yes. Hi. I see it right there, Lou. Hi. I see it, Lou. It's right there, Lou. Hi. Oh. Hi. Okay, what? Yeah. Okay. All right. My Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, okay? The football program. Yeah. Now, of course, having gone to Georgia Tech myself, and spent a lot of time at Georgia Tech, I'm somewhat of an expert on this subject material. Pardon me. Where was I, Lou? Yeah. Okay, so, like I said, having gone to Georgia Tech, okay, then I obviously know absolutely nothing about football, or Georgia Tech, football in particular, or just football in general. I obviously know nothing. I obviously don't care either. But seeing as how we did beat Georgia last year, I've been obnoxious and loud about it for this entire year. Now, most of what I say makes absolutely no sense, and is completely irrelevant to the argument at hand, but still, point remains, that's why, we won, I talk, okay, so, we lose this year, obviously go away, don't really care, don't care about football, I don't know the difference, to be honest with you, between football bat, and a goalpost. It's just what it is. But games in Atlanta. Bobby died, Lou. Yeah, Grantfield. Yeah. I said Grantfield. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The game's in Atlanta. No, this game will be a sellout. I can promise you. Georgia Tech supports its program.
Man, none of y'all games sell out. This one only sell out because Georgia buy all the tickets. Moron.
Nevertheless, the game will be a sellout, like I was telling you before. This is Georgia Tech's last game of the year. Looking to go out on top. Now, obviously, myself, Philip Huang, Tech Tard third, will not be attending this year's game for obvious reasons. Thanksgiving holiday here tomorrow, Thursday. Friday is Black Friday. But over at the Pep Boys, we're running a 3-day Black Friday sale. Yeah, you come in, get your oil changed, half price. Come on in, let Huang inflate your tires. I no problem. Like I said, went to Georgia Tech 4 years. When it comes to inflating tires, no one does it better. Philip Huang, Tech Tard third. Enjoy the game, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and everything like that. For me, I'm really just looking forward to the Star Trek convention coming up here soon. I've got my room reserved. No issues there. Costume in the mail. Should have it any day now. I'm not going to tell you who I'm going as. That's a surprise. That's for me to know. Other people find out later. Anyway. My brain's starting to hurt. A lot going on in here. I'm a very, very smart individual. Not just anybody can run the service area at Pep Boys. Okay? Anyway, enjoy the game. Have a great Thanksgiving. Lou, that's all I can do for these people.
Philip Huang, Tech Tard third there. Real winner. So maybe we'll see him again. Maybe we'll see him again next week. A lot of you guys, like I said, may never have seen that character before because he's probably the character I use the least. Honestly, because there's just not very many Georgia Tech people around here because there's just not very many people in general that care about Georgia Tech. Care about Georgia Tech football. I've told y'all before, Georgia Tech football fans are like groundhogs. They stick their head out of a hole about once a year, usually around this time of year, and they go, well, damn, no chance to beat Georgia again, and they go back in their hole for another 12 months, pop out again the following November, see if there's any chance then, but that's just sort of how it goes with Georgia Tech. But let me try to pull up these rankings now because there's something on these rankings I think that is completely ridiculous. And like I said, I don't like to complain about polls because you're complaining about someone else's opinion. What's the point? And especially the AP and the coaches poll, which is basically irrelevant. Because of the playoff poll. But I can't help it in this case. This is ridiculous to me. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've got no problems there. You could. Here's what I think about 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't think there's. If anyone wanted to switch teams 1 and 2, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it the way it is either, though. But LSU and Ohio State, one of those two teams should be number 1, and one of those two teams should be number 2. So I don't have any problem there. Clemson at 3, I have no problem there. I don't think Clemson should be anywhere else. I don't think they should be 1 or 2, and I don't think they should be 4. I think 3 is the only spot that makes sense for Clemson. It doesn't mean they're the third best team, but again, we can get into all the different things that the playoff committee looks at in terms of criteria. If you only want to go by the eye test, then you could make an argument that Clemson should be number 1. But you don't just go by the eye test. They have metrics that they use. They do use strength of schedule. I'm not one of these people that thinks because Clemson hasn't played a tough schedule, that means they're not any good or shouldn't be ranked high. That's ridiculous. You can watch Clemson play. They're clearly one of the best teams in America, especially right now. First month of the season, maybe you make an argument they were possibly even 5, 6, or 7 the first month of the season. But right now, they're playing like one of the best teams in America. But LSU and Ohio State each have better wins, so and it's tougher strengths of schedule. So it just makes sense to me that Clemson is 3. They're undefeated, so they shouldn't be any lower than that. And so 1, 2, and 3 are fine with me. And if you want to switch 1 and 2, that's fine too. Georgia at 4, I think that's where Georgia should be. They've got 3 wins over currently ranked top 15 teams, and I'm getting real tired of having to explain to people that it doesn't matter what a team was ranked in week 1 or week 2. That's not what the playoff committee looks at when they award quality wins, okay? So this idea that LSU is being given credit for a top 10 win over Texas is just ridiculous and not true. LSU is being given credit for quality wins over Alabama, Auburn, and Florida, because those are quality wins today. It doesn't matter that Texas was ranked in the top 10 in week 2 when LSU beat them. When you're talking about quality wins, it's wins over teams based on where they're ranked now, today, not week 2. And the number of people that don't understand that are pretending to be college football experts is hilarious to me. But Georgia, I think, deserves to be 4. Alabama at 5, I don't have a problem with Alabama at 5. I also don't have a problem with Alabama at 6, 7, or 8. If somebody wants to put Oregon or Oklahoma or Utah or all 3 ahead of Alabama, I would be okay with that too. But I don't have a problem with them at 5 either. Oregon at 6. I think Oregon is a hot team right now. Oklahoma at 7. I don't think Oklahoma's getting into playoffs. I think the Big 12 is going to be stuck on the outside looking in. Utah, I think the Pac-12's best bet is for Oregon to beat Utah, not for Utah to beat Oregon. That's just my opinion. I just think the perception is that Oregon is a better team, and perception tends to matter sometimes when you human element here ranking these teams. All right, but after number 8, this is where I start to have a problem. Okay, I know Penn State. I know Penn State won this last weekend, and I know Minnesota lost this past weekend. These are 2 really good teams, Penn State and Minnesota. Are they elite or great, top 4 or 5 teams? Probably not, but they're both really good teams, okay? They play in the same conference. They have the same record. And Minnesota beat them head-to-head 9 days ago. 9 days ago. Now, I get it. Penn State beat Iowa. Minnesota lost Iowa. That's fine, but you can go down these rabbit hole chains of this team beat that team and that team beat that team and that team and that team. Do you really think that matters as much as head-to-head? This makes no sense to me. None. If you want to have Penn State at 9, you have to have Minnesota at 8. This just makes no sense, and both these polls do it. Both of them. They both have Penn State at 9. They both have Minnesota at 11. Now, what I think should happen, I think Florida should probably be behind Utah. If you're looking at the coaches poll. And then Minnesota, and then Penn State. I don't understand. I don't know. I mean, does it make any sense to y'all? I mean, I don't understand. I cannot figure that out for the life of me. 2 teams in the same conference. They have the exact same record. They played each other 9 days ago. This would be like having Baylor ranked ahead of Oklahoma right now. Baylor and Oklahoma are both in the Big 12. They both play mostly the same teams. They both have the exact same record in the exact same conference. Oklahoma just beat Baylor. Why would you put Baylor ahead of Oklahoma? You wouldn't. So why would you have Penn State ahead of Minnesota? This does not make any sense to me at all. And it's beyond not making sense. I have a problem with this. This is what people complain about. It's perception and name recognition being more important than how good or bad a team actually is. These two teams literally just played 9 days ago, and it's not just that Minnesota beat Penn State. That's not it. It's not only that. They have the same record. It's not like Minnesota's a 4-loss team and got lucky and beat Penn State. I mean, they have the exact same record in the exact same conference. I mean, I don't know. This would be like having Alabama ranked ahead of LSU. I mean, this just makes no sense. This just makes no sense. Well, LSU's undefeated, but this would be like if, okay, let's say LSU loses in the SEC championship game by 3 points to Georgia. You going to drop LSU all the way back down behind Alabama? No. I mean, this just makes no sense to me. How can you have Penn State ahead of Minnesota, and how can both the AP and the coaches make that same mistake? And do you think the playoff poll will be the same way? The playoff poll, let's see where they had them last week. Last week, the playoff poll had Minnesota at 8 and Penn State at 9. So they probably are going to do. They're going to move Penn State up for a meaningless win over Indiana, and they're going to drop Minnesota down for losing on the road to Iowa, and completely forget the fact that 9 days ago these two teams played and beat them. I don't know. Jarvis, thank you for the super chat. The SEC requests a trade of Arkansas, Vandy, and South Carolina for Clemson. Clemson doesn't want to be in the SEC. I can tell you that. I can tell you that with no hesitation. And that's not, I don't mean that as a knock on Clemson either. Why anybody would want to do that right now? The goal is to make the playoffs. The goal isn't to play tough regular season games. This is what I keep telling people this when they talk about Clemson's not playing anybody. That's the ideal situation. That's what you want. It's not Clemson's fault that Florida State's no good, Miami's no good, and Virginia Tech, and I mean, none of that is Clemson's fault. But given the choice, I would take the same path. Given the choice, I mean, it didn't